And we are live, and I'm so happy to be back here. It's actually been, it feels as if it's been a long while since I was here, a long time since I was here. It's only been 2 weeks actually. So last week, I think at least. So last week we had a little bit of a holiday and took some excursions, and now I'm back to full speed. And the intention is that I will do these weekly live shows weekly. But sometimes life comes in between and we need to reschedule. But today I'm back, and if this is the first time that you see me or hear of me, my name is Josephine Warner, and I'm a former corporate executive turned entrepreneur and business growth strategist. And I help my clients mainly to build an engaged audience on LinkedIn so that they can sell their offers. And if they don't have a scalable offer, then I help them to create and to build that one too. And that is exactly what we are going to talk about today. We are going to talk about the 6 essential steps that you need to have in place to be able to create a scalable offer that is designed to sell. And I'm going to walk you through all of these 6 steps today. I have no clue how long this live will be. Sometimes it's 15 minutes, sometimes it's 20 minutes, sometimes it's 30 minutes. So we'll see how long it is. If you're here with me live, exactly like Eduardo is. Hi, Eduardo. So happy to have you here. Eduardo is, by the way, one of my LinkedIn buddies. And that is the thing about LinkedIn, to connect with people, like really connect with people on LinkedIn and then start having discussions with them. And I'm so happy that Eduardo is here with me today. So if you're here watching this, either from LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, make sure you add a comment. If you have any questions, either throughout this short, presentation, or if you're watching the replay of this, make sure you add your question in the comment section, because that will help me to follow up on those comments or follow up on those questions so that we can address your challenges, right? So today I'm going to walk you through these 6 essential steps. And the first step is to actually figure out if your idea that you're having, or if you don't have an idea what it is that you're about to create, but if you have an idea, is that even something that people would want to pay for? So you can't, for example, create a course to help people to tie their shoelaces, right? No one would pay for that. So before you create something, make sure you validate whether that idea is is even wanted. So the way that we do that, or the way that I do that, and the way that I teach my clients to do that, is we validate the idea. It can be through a survey, it can be through interviews, but it can also be through a simple post. So for example, when I created my LinkedIn program, people had started to approach me asking me about, can't you teach me LinkedIn? And in the beginning, I was a very reluctant LinkedIn teacher. And I said, okay, let's see if there is any need. And I had one client that I had taken through my process to the 6 steps that I teach inside of my LinkedIn program too. But I had one client that I'd taken through, so I knew that the program worked. I knew that the program was proven, right? But I wanted to see if there is a bigger need for this. So what I did was I just created a post on LinkedIn and then another post on Facebook to see if I would create a masterclass. We started with a masterclass, like a free masterclass. If I would create a free masterclass, is this something that you would be interested in? And I got a few hands. I didn't get that many people that actually said, yes, this would interest me. So I don't know, maybe 10, 20 people raised their hands at the time. So what I did then was I followed up with these people and I said, okay, so what is it exactly that you find challenging about LinkedIn? And this was still the idea of having the masterclass, right? Creating a free masterclass. That was like the first step there. And I got these challenges from these people and I created content around that to create interest around this free masterclass that I was offering. And the first time I ran my LinkedIn Clarity Masterclass, which is like a free resource where I share the framework and invite people afterwards into my program. The first time I created that free masterclass, I had 574 people actually registering for that free masterclass. So that in itself shows that, holy cow, there is a real interest to learn more about LinkedIn, right? So first of all, test your idea. Test whether there is any interest in that. If there is no one who's raising your hand, and with no one, I mean, it doesn't count if your best friend and your mom is saying, yeah, this would interest me too. It has to be people that would fall into a bucket of creating an ideal client persona around them, right? So first of all, test the idea. Is there an interest in what it is that you want to offer? Then you have an interest, right? People have raised their hand and said, yes, this would interest me. So what you do then is to, okay, so what is it that they want to achieve? And in my case, for the LinkedIn Clarity and for the LinkedIn Breakthrough Program, it's to generate leads, attract clients, get more sales. Okay, so that is the result that they would want. So what are the steps? What are the bridge that they would actually have to take to achieve those results? And I know that many coaches then say, and I was the same, right? We say then that, yeah, but you know what? I can't promise them the results. Yeah, but take that away for a second and just think in terms of, if they follow my exact steps, if they follow my exact instructions, if they do exactly as I ask them to do, which I know is not coaching, but when you're creating a program or a course, this is what you're doing, right? You're telling them what they need to do. If they follow those instructions step by step, will they then achieve your result? And if the answer is yes, and then you say, okay, I got my bridge. And what we usually do there is we create like 4 to 5 pillars, or if you've been in a program yourself, it can be modules. Like, these are the steps that people have to, or these are the milestones that people really have to go through. So you create those pillars. Just high level. You're not going to create any videos. You're not going to create any step-by-step instructions here, because you haven't yet attracted any people to really say, yes, I'm willing to pay for this, right? You started with check if there's an interest. Okay, now you need to see, is this even something that I want to deliver? Do I want to deliver this? And can I deliver this? And can I deliver this within the time frame that they really want to achieve their results? Because if someone says, I don't know, I'm starting with 0 and I want to have 100K within a month, can you deliver on that, right? Depends, right? Do they really start from 0, or do they start from somewhere else, right? So what are the frame? What is it that exactly that they want to achieve, and can you deliver on that? And do you really want to deliver on that? So those are really important. That is your bridge. So now you have the interest, you have the bridge, and then we are creating the simplest sales funnel. And this is where you add value. And this is where I get back to where I spoke about in the beginning. This is where I offer a masterclass. So I have, throughout my entrepreneurial career, I have created, I think, something around 13 offers. I think I counted to, potentially even more, because I might have forgotten about offers that I have created. And you can sell these offers through social media. You can sell the offers through an email sequence. You can sell these offers through a webinar or a challenge, or whatever you want to sell it. I like to sell my offers through, well, in general, through all of these, right? But if you don't have an email list yet, then start by going live, for example, or start by hosting a free webinar or a free masterclass, so that you can draw an interest to see, again, are there people really interested in this? And what you also need to remember then, by the way, is that there has to be a connection between that sequence or that free masterclass or free webinar that you're offering and your offer. Because if there is a broken, if it's broken here, somewhere in between, then people will not understand how this is connected, right? So you can't, for example, let's say you do a ChatGPT masterclass and then you invite them to a yoga program. I mean, there is a huge disconnect there. So the ChatGPT masterclass would probably attract loads and loads of people, but they wouldn't be the right people, right? So you have to have a connection between who are you attracting and what is it that you're helping them with, right? So the bridge between your sales strategy and then inviting people to join your program, it has to be crystal clear. So the sales strategy that I teach and that my business partner Angela teaches, for example, that is where we help you create a masterclass, so that you can then invite people into your scalable offers. By the way, the same process is valid when you create one-to-one offers too, because you still have to have a result, right? What is it that they want to have? And you can still sell one-to-one services through a free masterclass or a free webinar or an event. Okay, so then we have your sales strategy, and I'm taking my notes here so that I don't forget anything. And then we have step number 4. And this is really crucial. You have to sell your offer before you actually build it. And then you might say, well, why would I do that? Then I don't have anything to sell. Well, you sell it as a founding member's offer, exactly like I did with my LinkedIn Breakthrough program. I had 16 founding members into my LinkedIn Breakthrough program that I took through the process that I knew already worked, because I had taken one person through it already, and then I took these founding members through my program again. And this is crucial to have these founding members, because you will co-create the program together with them, right? So remember when I said you have the 4 or 5 pillars, you have designed like the framework around your program or around your course. And then when you offer this to the founding members, you have the pillars, you have the result, and together with your founding members, you will then build that offer out. What we usually do when we are selling an offer for the first time is that we sell it usually around 50% of what you would charge the next time. So let's assume you are creating a program that you eventually intend to charge $1,000 for. Then I would say for your founding members, then you should charge something around $500 for that program. That's how I like to do it. But of course, you decide what you want to do yourself. I just find that it feels like very relieving to say, hey, we are going to co-create this program together. And this is also why you have the opportunity to join the program now. And that is also why for the founding members, the investment is only, and then you have your price point for that, right? So you're selling a program before you build it. And why is this so important? I've seen this, and I've done this mistake myself too. Once I built a program for 10 months, and I didn't even dare to ask anyone if they were interested in this. Or I actually asked one person, a friend, and she said, yeah, of course. Don't ask friends. They would absolutely support you. Or they might even say, no, why would anyone buy that, right? So don't ask friends, don't ask your family. You need to go out and test the market and ask, is there even a want or a need for this, right? And then when we usually look into the markets such as health, wealth, happiness, and relationships, there it's way easier to make money than in, for example, hobby markets, right? So make sure that you try to hit one of those 4 markets: health, wealth, happiness, or relationships, right? And then we sell it. So then you have your founding members, you're welcoming them in. And then you might say, yeah, but Josephine, what if only one person raises their hand and say, yes, I'm in? Or what if no one raises their hand and says, yes, I'm in? Well, if no one raises their hand and says, yes, I'm in, you have to go back to the drawing board. Then something is off. It can be about the offer. It can be that maybe you didn't invite anyone to join your program. Is that the reason? Maybe there was a mismatch between the bridge, where you said, where you did the invitations to what you actually offered. Remember the chat GPT versus the yoga people, right? Is there a mismatch? Was it your messaging? So we need to go back then and see, okay, what went wrong? And how can we make sure that you actually get the right people in? If there is one person who said, yes, I'm in, I say, go ahead, go for it. That person will be your best testimonial ever. That person will get the best experience ever. They will actually pay the investment of a group coaching program or a course, but they will get one-to-one treatment, right? So don't feel, I've heard, and I actually had a business mentor a long time ago who said, oh, then you need to cancel. No, we're not canceling anything. You're going ahead and you're creating the program and you're getting paid for creating that program, right? So go ahead and do it anyways. And then number 5, you're hosting and you're delivering your program. You're taking them through the 1 to 5 or 6 steps, whatever it is that you have defined. And you have a constant reiteration with them to make sure that you really deliver on what it is that they want and need. So the very, very first course that I created, it was called something around setup for change or something like that. And the intention was to help my clients to find or identify their vision. Like where do they want to be? Where do they see themselves? Because the target audience back then were corporate women who had been a little bit like, or who were in the same situation that I had been, who had lost their vision. They didn't really know where they were heading or what was fun any longer. So I had created steps for this. And when we were in week 3, they still said, I don't get it. I don't understand. This is, I don't, this is too much for me. So what I did then was I added another exercise and I got amazing results and amazing testimonials at the end because I had co-created it with them, because I was running it live with them, because I was there to talk with them, to listen to them, to hear about their wants and needs. And that is still how I create my programs today, to really create them live. The first time I take people through my programs, it's always live, right? Do not create a course and then hope for the best, right? Like a do-it-yourself course and hope for the best. Even if it's a course, even if it's a freebie, I suggest you create it live with your people the first time that you take people through it. So you then have happy clients, you have testimonials, you have been able to add and change and amend, and maybe you added something to it, or maybe you took away something, because that is another thing that we often see, that we want to put in way too much into a course or a program, but it's actually it's not needed. And that is also one thing that happened in one of my first group coaching programs. It almost overgrew a little bit like weed in a garden, right? Because I wanted to help them and I wanted to teach them everything way beyond the result that they actually wanted to get. So make sure you try to focus on the pillars, focus on what is it exactly that they want and need. And even if they would ask for something, you are the program creator, you are the course creator. You need to say, well, this is included in the program, or this is actually not necessary for you to help to achieve the result that you're getting. But it could be an idea for the next step, right? What else do they need afterwards? But focus first on delivering that program, on delivering that first course. And I would say run this program several times before you even start creating something new. Because that is another one of my, I don't know how many mistakes I've shared with you already, but that is another one of my mistakes. To start reinventing the wheel, to thinking every time I've run a program, I've taken people through it, to say to myself, that wasn't the right program, that wasn't the right ideal client. And instead focusing on making your program the best program there is, to focus on one ideal client, one sales strategy, and building the program and make it better and better and better, right? Focus on that. And then you have now hosted and delivered your program. And I was into this already. The last point is to rinse and repeat the program. Do it again and again and again, because you will make it better, and your clients will appreciate you for it too, because they have then the opportunity to stay inside of the program. You don't have to offer lifetime access to your programs if you don't want to. That is something that I have been doing, because when I, for example, took people through the LinkedIn Breakthrough Program the first time, it was a 6-week program. And we saw that people, the first cohort really got amazing results, but the coming cohorts, they were a little bit stressed about those 6 weeks, and they felt like really that, oh, what happens if I don't manage to implement this on time? Will I then be kicked out of the community? Will I be kicked out of the program? And things like that. So that is another reason why you should really stay close to your community or stay close to your clients, to really listen to their needs, right? So I see I have a couple of people with me here live. And if you've been watching this live, if you have any questions, make sure you add those questions underneath here. And then I will be able to pick up on those questions. So let me just quickly summarize the 6 steps. So the first step is to do a little bit of I usually don't want to use the word market research because people think like I'm not doing any market research. That is, I'm just not doing it. They think it's too complicated. But you really need to put an ear down and to to listen. What is it that people say that they want? And you can do that through surveys, interviews, questions. I got a DM from one of my LinkedIn buddies the other day asking for input for questions that we would want to ask. His niche are men and health and mental health. So are there any questions we would have wanted to ask our male colleagues, friends, husbands, kids, fathers, whatever? Ask, don't be afraid to ask people questions, right? So do that first, ask the questions. Then you take that information and then you see, is there really an interest here? And the way I like to do that is through, I run a masterclass, for example, or a free event in some case, or you can sell it through email, or you can sell it through social media, for example. So that is another piece. You also, by the way, need to design the bridge of your offer. So before you have created it, design the pillars, because otherwise you won't know if you will be able to deliver on the result that they say they want to get. If they or if you even want to deliver on that result, right? I have created courses afterwards where I've said, I don't want to continue doing this, right? But before you give up too soon, maybe run it 2-3 times first, because there will be things coming off of that. Reinventing the wheel of creating new offers all the time has made me become a specialist on creating offers, has made me a specialist on knowing what is it that works, has helped me to really simplify the process. But it's not necessary, right? Create one offer for one ideal client with one sales strategy. That's all that you need. And then those were the first 3 things. Number 4, let me just quickly check. Number 4 is selling it. Yeah, we're selling it before you're building it. Number 5 is then you're taking people through it. You're hosting it. You're taking your founding members through your program. And number 6 is rinse and repeat. Do it all again. And you can actually launch your offer depending on how long it is, obviously. But let's say you make a 4-week or 5-week or 6-week course. I would say run it through first, like the first cohort, and then you can launch it again. One of my clients, what we actually did was we created her first masterclass in November last year, but she knew that she wouldn't be able to kick off her program until in February this year. So she ran the first masterclass, pitched the offer, and then she ran another masterclass in January. We had already planned this out. And then she pitched her off again and added some more founding members to her offer. So you can do that. I wouldn't say that it's necessary to do that. Only run one masterclass or one info session or one webinar or one challenge into your offer and then see what happens, right? So we also have a comment here from Eduardo to say that pricing is such an important topic. Great insight on the founder's approach. And yes, I absolutely agree. And I sometimes still, sorry. So I'll take away your comment there a second, Magdalena. I will bring it out in a second. But I think pricing can be also very, we connect it so much to ourselves. Would I pay for this? Do I think that this is valuable? What you might forget then is that something that seems very, very easy for you to do might be very complicated and difficult for someone else to do. So they value that way more. Also, what you shouldn't forget is that you probably have a lot of experience in your backpack already that you will add into these types of offers, right? So pricing is like try to disconnect yourself from the pricing and then connect it rather to the end result. Like, what is the end result here? And here we're talking about the compounding effect of your program. It's not what happens after the 6 weeks, because let's say you're a leadership coach, for example. few, sometimes not so much happens in these 6 weeks, but you know that if they continue on this path, within a year, they will have the new promotion. They will be more outspoken in the meetings. They might have a completely new job. You know, the compounding effect of that program is what is really defining the value of your offer. So we have Magdalena here says, she did a clever thing a few years ago. Pre-sold her course with an offer to interview the potential buyers and ask them specifically what they need. And then she recorded it. Exactly. I think that is that is amazing. Because what you do then when you're asking them, like I said in the beginning, when you're asking them for what is it exactly that you need, that they think they need, you as the specialist know that maybe that is not exactly what they need, but that is what they think they need. So that is what you're selling, right? You need to sell what they think they need, or what they say that they want. And then you give them in the course or in the program what they need to achieve the results. And then she said here, I also gave those people a discount as a thank you for the interviews. Yeah, because that is then the founding members, right? You can consider them the founding members. Thank you so much for your input, Magdalena. So happy to have you here. So that was actually it for today. And if you have any questions, as I mentioned, make sure you add them underneath here. If you're interested in going through this process yourself, I have an amazing offer coming up soon. So send me a DM if you want to explore this, or add a comment underneath, and I will reach out to you too if this is something that you would want to explore. If this was it, by the way, if you have any topics that you would want me to talk on or clarify, then make sure you add those underneath here too. So because that will make these sessions a little bit more targeted or tailored to your needs. So thank you so much for being here with me today, and can't wait to see you soon again. Bye. Bye-bye.